Oh, oh, not too bad. You can hear me all right? Yep. And hang on, let me just say something so I can check if the sound's not going through my speakers. Yep, that's all good. Mm,
Now. All right, welcome everybody. We're very excited to share things with you today. The reactive takoyaki is not showing up. Might have to fall back to our regular one. Um, in the meantime, hello. Is everybody able to hear me all right?
I can hear you all right.
And can you hear Kenny as well since he spoke up? Just want to make sure because I've heard reports before that my audio has been a little bit scratchy coming through the stream, so we've tried to fix that here.
Alright. And yeah, my audio, hopefully that's all good. It's not too loud, not too soft, whatever.
Just put the takoyaki in here. Oops. Big takoyaki.
Oh, that's a big takoyaki.
Small takoyaki. Well, medium takoyaki now, but Alright, put him there. Lock him in place.
Oh, if you hear me sniffling, it's because I've got hay fever. At least I think it's hay fever, and I hope it's not a cold.
That's why the reactive one wasn't showing. It was hidden.
Ah.
Fun stuff, fun stuff. All right. And got ugly retro girls in the chat here. Welcome. It's good to see you. So, where to begin with this? So much going on here. Well, I guess to start off with, anybody who's been following the channel for more than about a month here has probably seen or at least heard of some of the Rakugo voice acting collabs and things like that that we've done on the channel here. These are traditional stories, kind of an oral story tradition, storytelling tradition in Japan. It goes back to about the mid 1700s here, and where basically traditionally you have one storyteller who does an amazing job of taking on the characterizations of many different characters in very dialogue heavy stories here. It's very exciting to watch when done well. And it's one of those things where it's kind of fallen out a little bit as an art form here in the since media has kind of developed in the 20th century here with radio and then television and things like that. Watching one person do a morality play on his own is not always as visually exciting sometimes. But the stories are still very solid things here, and a lot of us have grown to really love them over time. And so we've been trying to develop some of this as a way to revive those stories, share it, and kind of give a little bit of an insight into traditional Japanese culture along the way. Kenny, would you like to add anything to that basic introduction there?
It's one of those things. You want to add when these stories came from? Because you mentioned to me that some of these stories came from the Meiji era and or the Edo era.
Yeah, basically, a lot of these stories. Rakugo itself got started around 1750 or so ish. So a lot of these kind of are set in a lot of traditional Rakugo stories are set between the middle of the Tokugawa shogunate there, the Tokugawa era, on through the beginning and early stages of the Meiji era. And a couple of times reach even into, just before the Taisho era, with the early 20th century there. But largely you kind of have that about 130 year span of about 1750 to 1880 or so that a lot of the stories really fall kind of comfortably into.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, it's it's been going for 200, 300 years now.
Yeah.
And it's quite, and I also find it really interesting that the Japanese are really good at preserving these cultures. Sort of like things like say karate and stuff like that, where they've taken, or even Japanese kanji, they've taken something that's been around and they've just kept doing it over many hundreds of years. Good evening, Sloppy Barrels.
And real quick here, quick sidebar, and then we'll get back to the discussion there. But we owe a shout out to Sloppy Barrels here. She is the artist who put together the small takoyaki animations you see at the bottom here. So again, thank you very much for making this happen, Barrels. We really appreciate it.
Those are really cute.
The audio seems to be double out. Okay, are we getting... Okay, I think I might know what it is. One moment. Is it just Kenny you're hearing double, or are you hearing me double as well? Kenny? Okay, one moment. I think I know what it is.
Blah, blah. Oh no. It's I'm doubling up again.
Yeah, I think I can fix that. Properties, control audio and OBS, and we'll just mute that source.
Alright, just check it, just testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah.
We might just need to restart that video source, so you'll have to give me a new link maybe. I think what it is that you shared your mic with it. Well, no.
Oh no, I've made sure to mute it on the video source. So it shouldn't be sharing my mic at all.
No, for the time being, we can go ahead and just mute Discord, and then when we get to the other part of it, we can figure that out then. The truth is, we probably won't need that source for that part anyway. So real quick here, I think I've turned off the doubling there. Can you recite Jigaboo for us real quick so we can hear if it's still going?
Oh, I can't remember Jugemu off the top of my head. Jugemu, Gokoro Surikire, Kaijo Matsu, Nurai Matsu, Furai Matsu, Kuneru Tokoro, Nisuru Tokoro, Yabura Koji, Nobura Koji, Paipo no Shuringan no Gurindai no Pompoko Pi no Pompoko no Chosuke no Chosuke, I think. Oh, yep, Sloppy Barrel says that's good now.
Oh, right. Excellent. Not a bad effort on Jigaboo there.
I missed a couple of lines, and I know I missed a couple of lines, but it's been a while.
It's all good.
Oh, you mentioned earlier with the Rakugo stuff that some of this stuff was from Edo, Meiji. Very interestingly, some of that culture can be seen in today's anime.
Yes.
So things like Pokemon and stuff like that. There's the what they know as the old person dialect. Like instead of saying watashi, they say washi.
Yep.
Like instead of watashi wa shiranai na, they'll say like washi wa shiran no. That's actually old Edo dialect, and that was a holdover from media that was done in the early Meiji years, where the old people in Tokyo would still be speaking Edo dialect, but the young people would be speaking the modern Japanese.
Sidebar: if I ever surrender Ore, I'm switching to Washi. Um,
Yeah, watch is fun.
yeah, and you see that one. While a lot of personal pronouns in Japanese are very distinctly, masculine or feminine, Washi, kind of like a lot of derivatives of Watashi, is used by both men and women. It's like if you look in Rama One Half, it's probably one of the best known examples I can think of for it. You see it used by Genma, Haposai, Cologne. I think Song uses Watashi or something along those lines. But yeah, a lot of the old and kind of, how to put it, curmudgeonly isn't quite the word I'm looking for here, but jaded would probably be a good word for it. Kind of characters tend to use it.
Yep. Oh, and Selfie mentioned Warawa.
Whatever.
Warawa is used for...
ware. Yeah. Or ware or ware. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
didn't mean to cut
ware?
you off. Yeah.
Because... that's a misspelling.
Yeah. There are two different versions of it, ware and ware. They're kind of both used in a similar way, although ware obviously the duplication is plural. It's more of a we. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. Ware is not. It's not Edo. It's not that Edo dialect in particular. So ware is a little bit more of a. It's a little bit more formal, and I was also thinking of warawa, like warawa. And which is something from the Heian era, I think.
Oh,
So
okay.
So there are some characters who will say warawa, 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 and that's used by characters who are just from this really ancient period, and I think it's used by court officials. Primarily, I've heard it being used by females,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's so warawa is even older. Ware is something which you can still hear today. But usually you'll hear it from people like people in business or politicians and stuff like that.
Yeah, ware and ware are typically tend to be viewed almost as business language. It's not so much you're talking about you personally, you're talking about the group that you represent. So, for example, again, one company talking to another, you might use, ware in that context, talking about your business. Although many times you might also just use like a hey sha, to kind of be humble in referring to your company there. I'm really not sure where that one falls on the humility scale offhand. Ware, I mean. But another interesting thing too is, by the way, ware here is written with the Chinese character wo, if you're familiar with Mandarin. So the Chinese version of I. But another thing too is that wa is the classical Japanese version of I, the default one that was used most commonly, and can still be seen used in some set phrases in Japanese. Like when you want to see someone kind of get that patriotic feel, like wagakuni, our country, wagako, our school, those kinds of things. Where wa is followed by ga, but it really functions like the modern no. So like warera no, kind of a feeling there almost, or watashi tachi no.
Or like wagakuni or waga koko.
Yep.
There you go.
But yeah,
But that's, we've already segued and we've just started. So I'll let you introduce what is this Rakugo visual novel stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, so as we were saying, well, just to wrap up a little bit on the previous point here, is relevant though, I assure you, is that some of the fun things about Rakugo, especially for learners, is it is an oral tradition. It is meant to be spoken, meant to be read, meant to be heard. Well, not meant to be read, but meant to be heard. Meant to be spoken, meant to be heard. So it reads very easily in general. Some Osaka Ben stuff can be a little hard, even if you're familiar with Japanese, if you're not familiar in Osaka Ben. But a lot of it is generally, it's got a nice flow to it. In some ways, it's kind of like the Canterbury Tales are to English, where, we know what literary English looks like through the ages here, but it's one of our rare views into conversational English of that period. And yes, a lot of the vocabulary will be very dated at times. It's like you would never refer to your wife as kaka in modern Japanese. No, you wouldn't. But, it's really an interesting look into a whole lot of different things there. So what we decided to do is take this vibrant art form here and kind of translate it into a method of presentation that allows us to enable other people to really experience some of what it has to offer, and in a way that kind of is similar to how people, when this first came about, would experience it. So, it's like, we can make references to all kinds of memes today, and we get them now. But 20 years from now, who's going to understand the memes? Kenny and I have known each other for 20 years, if not just slightly more at this point, and yeah, there are things that the two of us could reference that would probably confuse a lot of the chat here. So, or if we got into like a lot of heavy-duty super robot type talk, going back to like the 70s, 80s, again, if you have that specialized knowledge, it's great. It could be an amazing conversation. If you don't, it could be like, why am I here? So
yes.
What we're trying to do is present these stories in a way that not only brings them to life, but also enriches the experience and leverages the medium here by allowing us to add more context to things, to better appreciate the jokes and wordplay, to better appreciate why things are flowing the way they are. Sometimes, like some of these stories, the narration, for example, at the beginning can get a little bit, it feels like it's wandering a bit. And if you know what is going on, it makes sense and it pays off. But sometimes it really, if you don't know the references, can really seem obscure. Like, okay, we're just throwing this in here and moving on. And one of the things I've learned when translating these scripts, and I've translated about a dozen of them so far, is nothing is by mistake here. Nothing is casual. Everything is very deliberate in why it's in there.
Yeah, and it's that actually also reminds me of how there was a movement to perform Shakespeare's plays, but in the Old English that was used at the time. And when they basically swapped the modern English translations of Shakespeare's plays back to the Old English with the old pronunciations and old grammar and all that stuff, they found that there were actually a lot of puns and very interesting word plays in the original Shakespeare's plays, which have been lost. Yeah, which have been lost when you translate it to modern English. So hopefully we can discover little things like that about these old Japanese Rakugo scripts.
Yeah.
But also because it's in a game, this is where we can have footnotes and things like that. So if something doesn't quite make sense, you can just go, "Oh, that I don't understand that at all. Oh, here's a note." Tap.
So, getting started here, Kenny, would you like me to show off what I've got, or would you like to show off some of the character sketches and art first?
Let's go with what's on the program, and then later on we can show it as like sort of the making of.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to skim through a couple of stories here because we've got a bunch of them that are at different stages of development. One of the things you find out very quickly developing developing a visual novel is just the level of micromanagement it takes to get all the expressions changing frequently enough to be interesting and managing all those details. So, it's been really interesting, as well as figuring out how to do the audio and things like that. So speaking of which, I've got it muted right now, but I'm going to turn it back on. Chat, if you could tell me if it's too loud, too quiet, etc., that would be great. So I just turned it on here. Can everybody hear the music right now?
I can't hear it, unfortunately. If the chat can hear it, that's fine.
Yeah, I can share the window with you in Discord so you can hear it, Kenny. One moment. So... okay.
Oh, will that double up the sound, though?
It shouldn't. Well, I've got Discord muted anyway, so it shouldn't.
Alright, I can hear it now.
Okay, Kenny can hear it. Everybody thinks it's just right in chat? Okay, nice. Okay, so... let's see here. As you can see, we've got translations into Japanese as well as English here. Which actually, I'm going to start it off in Japanese, just because that allows us to demonstrate one of the exciting features here for Japanese learners. So we're going to pull up Jugamu here. Okay, several things here. One, Barrels, I'm using your art here as a stand-in. We'll replace it in the final version unless I get your blessing for commercial use, but but I just love this piece, by the way. It's been one of my favorites since commissioning it.
I think it's okay to just leave this with this art because it's just really nice.
Oh, it captures the personality beautifully. But yeah,
and it also gives it a distinction from between the storyteller and the characters as well.
Yes, it does.
So that's another possibility.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. So you have a really distinct in-universe versus out-of-universe thing. You got a good point there. And if you'll notice here, one, we have the line read off here in Japanese. I've got a Japanese dub for all of Jugamu here, which, for those who are curious, turned out to be about 350 lines in total. And then I had to break up the Jugamu name itself into about a dozen smaller lines 2 of those times. So, wow. Yeah, it's quite a bit of work putting in the audio here, but it really does pay off. But I'm definitely glad we decided not to do the mouse flap thing. Oh man, that would be a whole different level.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But yeah, the other reason I wanted to demonstrate Japanese here is, you look closely, I'm not sure how well it shows on the screen, but all of the Japanese text here has furigana. So anybody who is learning Japanese, we got your back here. We are making sure that all of this is annotated so that no matter what your level, you can go ahead and enjoy the story here if you decide to try and enjoy it in its original Japanese.
キリスト教やイスラム教の神様なんかは人間の方の達人を一定に引き受けて全責任を負っていらっしゃるそうで
This is a first pass here I did for this, so we're probably going to go ahead and redo the takes on some things here. But it's very easy at any time if you decide, you know what, you wanted to just see what that... Oh! I hit the main menu by accident.
古今東西いろんな外国の神様
So, anytime if you decide, okay, you just wanted to see what one line is in Japanese and we want to go back to your language, you can go right here, go back, and now you have it back in English here. So it's very easy for the curious to switch back and forth without a problem. Of course, you also have the history view here, which normally would show everything. I guess because it reset because we changed the language.
Selfie says needs more overacting.
Yeah. The initial narration kind of is a little bit. I definitely need to redub that. But we'll get into the actual scene here with Hachigoro and the wife here in a moment. This one isn't as micromanaged on the visual emotion as some of the other ones we've done are, but it's got some great demos and things like that we worked in there to help with the storytelling. So we'll go ahead and do that scene here. Actually, I can set this on auto mode and just let it run.
あれだな、赤ん坊の寝顔なんざいくら見てっても焼けないもんだな。
Yeah, one line got missed in English, so sorry.
いくら見たってそう変わり映えしないんじゃない？そうでもねえぜ。まだ生まれて何日も経ってないってのにずいぶんしっかりしてきたんじゃねえか？そりゃそうだね。生まれたての時は真っ赤でさ、シワシワで誰もいなくてさ、なんか面構えが偉そうになってきやがったぜ、このガキ。
Yeah, definitely need to overact a little bit more in some places here.
それは無理だよ。来月にヒゲが生えてきたりして、そのうちちょろいや通い始めやがるぜ。バカ言ってんじゃないよ、この人は。明日でやっとおしちやなんだよ。おしちや？なんだそりゃ。獅子屋へ挨拶に行くのか？ああ、そりゃそうだな。これから先ずっとお世話になるんだからな。これがうちのせがれでございます。親父ともども変わらぬごひいきを願います。何言ってんだよ。違うよ。まったく貧乏くさいこと言わないでおくれよ。7つ目の夜って意味だよ。名前をつける日なんだよ。なんだ？その日があるのか。まあ、そりゃそうだよな。いつまでもこのガキじゃ具合悪いや。で、どんな名前をつけようか。俺が
And here's where we start introducing some graphics to help bring some of it to life here.
そんないい加減な名前。お前、いい加減って言い草ねえだろ。第一、クロロなんて。いかにも先々クロー耐えなさそうな名前じゃないか。
Yeah, we really liked what Kenny some of the expressions as well here. He's really giving me a lot to work with.
まんまの苦労をせずに済むような名前をつけてやりたいんだよ。まあ、それは。それにこうしたことはねえけどよ。どうだろうね。お寺にお坊さんにつけてもらおうってのは。寺の坊主？
坊主。
うっせえよ。縁起でもねえ。寺なんざ死人が出た時にしか用がねえじゃねえか。
Yeah, this is what I was up late doing last night.
弔いの申し込みしたようなもんだ。バカをいいでないよ。いいかい？今日から基地に帰るって言葉があるんだから、それにお寺にお坊さんってのは物知りなんだから、教文に出てくるおめでたいありがたい言葉を担当知ってるんだよ。お前さんが内地へ絞るよりもよっぽどこの子のためにいい名前を考えてくれる違いないんだ。 おめでたくて長生きができるような名前をお願いしますって頼んでおくれ。あんた父親の初仕事だよ。父親のか。じゃあ早速行ってくるよ。ちょっと待ちなよ。もう夜中だよ。明日寝なさい。さて、よく
Alright,
のことでござ
so
いま
that
す。
set scene there is our initial introduction to some of what we're doing. Obviously, we're going to be, this is just an initial demo reel for the recordings there. Just trying to get a sense of how much effort is involved and so forth here. Jugamu here is about medium to short length story. And like I said, that came out to be about 350 individual lines and took about 20 hours in total to slice up and place. On top of recording.
You're a machine, Kaji. You're a machine.
Well, part of it is, we want to bring this project to life as much as possible here. And ideally, what we'd like to do is have kind of two options on the recordings here as well. One where you kind of get the traditional Rakugo experience with one storyteller doing all the voices and characterizations, and another where we bring together a full, proper voice acting cast and really bring them to life that way as well. But obviously that takes time, that takes effort, and so, we're trying to figure out what's reasonable here. Especially as we're looking at going into possibly doing a Kickstarter here, probably sometime maybe January, February, to try and get some funding to really make this project possible and, compensate Kenny for some of his effort on the art, make sure I can make a living while devoting the time I need to do this and things like that. But yeah, so that's some of the examples there. Let's go ahead and look at another story here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to pull up Bimbo Gami. We're just going to zip through this one quickly because this one has the characterizations down. I haven't recorded anything audio for this one. Jugum is the only one with audio. But yeah. This one here, I went through before and really micromanaged everything, getting it set up. So this should show off some of the range of expressions, especially on Hachigoro. You also meet NPC-chan here along the way because, yeah. So...
Yeah, keep NPC-chan.
But yeah, so initially we have a confrontation between the landlord and our poor man who we're using Hachigoro as a stand-in there. And you can see there's all kinds of things we can do here to really bring out the dynamics of the encounter. And this is without even bringing in any extra assets like we did for Jugamu with the funeral portrait and things like that.
Selfies back from ruining the Fire Nation invasion.
Welcome back. Yeah, Hachigoro is kind of going to be our main character in this universe here, in some ways, because he features in about 8 or 10 different stories out of the 80 or so I've got. So he's definitely the most visible one, although we're probably going to work him into even more here along the way, so we're trying to create a cohesive universe around these stories. So that you get to know the characters. When you see someone, like you see Hachigoro, you know his motivations, you know how he's going to act, you know what to expect. You like this version of the God of Poverty, do you? Yes, this is NPC Chen. We have it set up so that we can call this model in as a stand-in for any character we need along the way. You'll see a few more along the way as well. And we were thinking as a stretch goal here, maybe one of the ones, or maybe just the hey, we hit the fundraising goal, adding a NPC mode here, which replaces the character art that we have for most things with the NPC art here. So, but yeah, these NPC models here are the ones that I've been using for everything while waiting for the art from Kenny here.
They're great. Well, yeah, I love how animated it is when you've got all the expressions changing and happening like that.
Yeah.
Although, man, the amount of work that goes into changing the expressions every time.
Yeah. And it's one of those things you don't want to leave it on that one thing for too long here, because that gets a little boring, but...
Mm-hmm.
And here's our blue NPC.
Oh, that reminds me, I haven't done the palette, I haven't added in the palette swapped versions. That's alright, that's stuff that we can put in bit by bit.
Yeah. No, so we can definitely change out the bodies, things like that. I've got like 3 different variations for Hachigoro as it is, although this is the only one I'm using in any of the stories at the moment. Alright, so that was a look at some of the expressions and things like that there. As a god of poverty, that kind of weird silhouette works well. Yeah, I can see that,
Although, I remember there's an anime called Bimbogami as well, I think.
Yeah, Bimbogami ga. Yes, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, Bimbogami ga. Where it's the... Yes, as god of poverty as a cute anime girl.
Yep. Yeah.
So I watched a little bit of that. Overall, it's not my thing, but it's it's it definitely stood out from the anime.
Well, the
other anime in the season.
The one you really need to watch if you haven't yet is Noragami. The Bimbogami in there is amazing.
Okay. What's Noragami about?
Okay, Noragami is about it literally translates as stray god, like Nora Inu, stray dog. And basically it's about a minor god who used to be a god of war, was very popular in the Sengoku era, but he decided to remake himself as a god of fortune. And, doing, all kinds of good deeds and favors for people, helping them find lost stuff, things like that. And in that regard, he's not as well known or well reputed. And so as a result, he doesn't really have many followers, doesn't collect many donations, and is relatively poor. Whereas, obviously the gods of fortune and things like that, Bishamon and so forth, obviously have all kinds of stuff at their disposal. The god of poverty, Bimbogami in that one, is one of the richest gods in the series. Not by virtue of anybody really wanting to, be poor per se, but because they're making donations as a way of keeping her away from them.
Oh my gosh. That sounds funny.
But yeah, other stuff we've also been doing here, I'm going to pull up one more story to demonstrate that. This is Taira Bayashi, which, for those who aren't familiar with it, is a story about a letter that has a name on it here that could be read any of several different ways. For people who hate kanji, this story is your worst nightmare brought to life.
This is hey. Can it? Would I read it as Heirin?
You know, that's the one reading that doesn't come up in here, I think.
Heirin.
Actually, though, there is one that reminds me of a bit where, because Hachigoro appears in Deki Gokuro as the guy who's trying to make up a bunch of stuff here to kind of get the landlord to put all kinds of possessions he doesn't have on the police report, so maybe, who knows, he'll luck out. And there's one bit where the landlord catches on, it's like, "Hey, Hachi!" And it's like, okay, I almost want to have you do a Mishima reference there. Yes.
And you got the brat kid in this.
Yeah, he kind of worked for Sadakichi there, so I would have threw him in, even though we don't have many expressions for him yet. But yeah, so basically, these characters here can be read any of a number of different ways.
Hey, listen.
Some people go get really carried. Oh, jeez, yeah. You know, I'm not opposed to adding gags like that in here, necessarily. In fact, one of the things we want to do here along the way is find ways to tie these together. Have references back and forth to things, and, you know, maybe even create possibilities, like if you interact with it in certain ways, you can create alternate endings or things like that. So there's more to do than just simply watch every story once. We want this to be something people are going to come back to, people are going to have fun with. But getting back to this for just a moment, one feature we're working in here is translator's notes. We're going to probably have some of these be unlockable things along the way, like this one here is explaining the story for those that maybe missed the joke the first time. So we really don't want this one to show up and spoil everybody right at the beginning. So we'll probably have a flag so this shows at the end. But, you know, we're going to have some of these notes along the way to explain, like, let me get to the first encounter here. Okay, so here we are. And so we can see here, it's like, hey, he's going to ask the middle-aged man he sees here, hey, can you read the name on the envelope? It's like, the one on the address? Yeah, sure. And so, again, we have a little preview of what's going on here. This guy is going to actually try and make a serious attempt at reading it properly. And so, it's like, what do you mean? Okay, you can't read it? All right, here's how you do it. And so, the first character is Taira, as in Taira no Kiyomori. Now, here's one of those bits we were talking about before. We were talking about, like, you know, if Kenny and I were to go all talking super robots for a while. You know, Japanese, especially Japanese middle school students, I'm sure, know who Taira no Kiyomori is. Your average foreigner probably does not, however. So we add, like, that. Of course. Of course. I guess I needed to update something there.
It died!
Ah, okay, it was trying to find a picture there. It had the picture inset. But we have a translator's note here saying, hey, you know what? Will not break. It broke. Yep. But we have a translator's note here saying, hey, you know what? Here's a bit of who he is and why people would know this reference. You know, this reference to the tale of the Heike here, Heike Monogatari, which is a very famous piece of Japanese literature. Not quite up there with Genji and the Pillow Book, but definitely the next level down from it.
And you can also tell how difficult Japanese is, where you can see it's Taira no Kiyomori, but like it's the tale of the Heike, and you can see right there.
Yes.
The tale of the. It's not the tale of the Tairake, but it's the tale of the Heike. So it's like.
Yes.
Whoa!
Exactly.
Genji's a filthy prawn, and we all know it.
Okay, and I can't dismiss the screen now because of that error. Okay, let's see if we can reload.
Well, Genji was...
Okay.
Tale of Genji was written by a lady,
One
right?
Skinny cat.
Yeah.
Yes, Tale of Genji was written by Murasaki Shikibu.
There we go.
Okay, so that note didn't want to go away, so we're getting back to where we were.
Yeah.
Which actually there is.
I can hear your keyboard.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can zip. It's like, no, we've done the whole story here, so it's going to zip past it. But yes, we can pull up the explanations there for references so that we can, translation is many times an artful balance between literal meaning, intended meaning, and art. Sometimes you can capture, many times it's a 2 out of 3 trade-off. You can, an overly literal translation can be accurate, but it may not reflect the spirit of what's being said, or especially in Japanese, the intensity of what's being said.
Yes.
In a culture that's so built around understatement here, translating it at the same level, the same register in English just would fall flat. There's a reason why a lot of Japanese acting is overacting. Again, many times you can go ahead and get something that works, but, especially translating poetry, you see this where it's like, you're trying to fit it into the same space. And many times there you see a sacrifice in literal accuracy for, what we're trying to fit the same flow, and we want to create the same feeling that the poem creates.
Yeah, or especially puns.
Yes. And Rakugo is full of puns. Cat Diesel, it's good to see you again. Thank you. Kenny is the one who deserves credit for the art here, for the character art. And yes, he has done a great job on it. We're going to showcase some more of his stuff here in just a bit, after we finish this part of the demo. But yeah, so
This will be the behind the scenes after this.
Exactly. But yeah, so you can see we're leveraging some of the things here to help illustrate some of what's going on, and help people understand the flow of the story here. Because a lot of the stuff, again, while a Japanese audience may be able to hear it and picture it all visually, it can sometimes be harder to bring some of these things together as a non-native a member of the audience here. Especially when we get into some of the later parts of this story. Like, okay, we get to the middle-aged woman here, and she kind of takes a different approach. Instead of using, what is it? Taira Bayashi, as in Taira no Kiyomori. She's like, well, the first thing that comes to mind for the first character here is Hiratai, which means flat. And so, it's read as Hira. And so, and the other one is like in the word for wood, so Shinrin, so Rin, so it's Hirarin. You can see where this is going. But you can argue at this point still that she is maybe making a good faith effort and just chose different basis points. This is bordering on unlikely, but still possible.
That is...
This next one coming up, I originally had Master Roshi as a stand-in in my very first demo I did for this, and it fits so beautifully with the way it works here, as you'll see. Yeah. So Sadakichi's going around, and he goes up to the old man, and it's like, hey, can you read the envelope? And it's like, sure. And it's like, what? Tadashi? Hirarin? No, come on, my boy. You can't tell that people are pulling your chain here. Can you read? No, don't worry. You can't? Oh, okay, well, in that case, don't worry about it. I got you covered here. Alright, so let's start with the very top of this character here. The character right at the top here. You see this one? This piece here is the character for 1. Alright? And then below that, these 2 dots, that's the character for 8. And then we have a 10 below that. And then we have 2 trees underneath that, and so, you just say tree twice. And so here we go.
What?
Here is our reading for this one. And it's like, Ichiyachi Juno Moku Moku.
Alright, that's all. That's obviously off.
Yes.
Like, no one's gonna read it like that. No one!
Yeah.
No one!
Yeah, any Japanese can follow along and know, okay, you know what, here's why those two said that, and actually it follows a common convention in Japanese when introducing oneself and saying, you know what, kaji desu, kaku no wa, kuwawaru no ka motsu no ji. Where you're saying, oh, you know what, my name is Kaji. The ka is written as in, the character using Kuwawaru, and the G is written as in the character from Motsu. The common points of reference there, so that people know specifically what you're referring to. Let's see here. Ugly Retro Girl. So it's kind of like the story of the Arabian Nights about the beautiful painting. Okay, you can feel free to drop some more notes in that one in chat.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I've never read any of the Arabian Nights stories.
I'm familiar with Aladdin, but that's about the extent of it. But yeah, just when you think this can't get any more ridiculous, we stopped by the tobacco shop, and yes, I use tobacconist, even though it's not a common word in American English anyway, because darn it, I couldn't resist the Monty Python reference. If anybody doesn't catch that reference, just look up Dirty Hungarian Phrase Book. But tobacconist here is like, okay, you know what? Yeah, okay. So you're still confused on this. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what you got so far. And it's like, Tadamashi, Hichiyachi no Moku Moku? What the heck is this last one? And it's like, kid, you don't get this. The important thing about words is they sound sexy, they sound appealing. So you know what? I'm going to take everything the old man gave you and convert them from the onyomi to the kunyomi, from the foreign readings to the native Japanese readings. And it's going to sound so much better. So, don't say ichi, say hitotsu. See? That sounds so much nicer, doesn't it?
Oh my god.
Instead of hachi, say yatsu. Ju becomes to. And then after that, moku becomes ki. And so what we get? Again, hitotsu, yatsu de tokiki. And you see this kind of silliness throughout a lot of Rakugo stories here. Sometimes in different ways with more mature characters, but you do see a lot of this kind of stuff going on. In some ways, kind of the Monty Python bit isn't too far off the mark at times. Although it's not quite as existentialist as some of their stuff gets.
Oh, yeah. Selfies also posted about the Arabian Nights story, which is it's quite interesting. Yeah, X number of birds, which means something, and a certain kind of tree with X number of branches, that means something else.
Okay.
And my guess is the messenger who's trying to trick the wife is interpreting the painting very differently from the way their wife is interpreting the painting.
Yeah, that would appear to be the case.
Yeah, and I'll give you an my name. I've got a Chinese name, but it's it's just pronounced so differently in Japanese, and it could be pronounced in any manner of ways as well.
Yep.
And Selfie says there's a letter with the painting, but he knows she's illiterate, so he tries to say the letter says something totally different.
Interesting. Yeah, that is kind of a similar situation here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we'll go back to this story.
Okay. You want me to go back to a particular part here, Kenny, or?
Oh no. You got me interested because I haven't read Taira Bayashi. So where's this story going?
Okay.
Have you got the whole story on here?
Yes. So we'll continue this one for you. So
I need to know where this goes.
So Sadakichi goes around and he's like, okay, you know what? Wait, that's completely wrong. So we're gonna go ahead and just go around and like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do my best to remember all of them. I'm gonna shout all these names, and whichever one's right, eventually someone's gonna come out and answer to that name. So, all right. Hey, Tadabayashi, Hilarin, Ichiachichu no Mokumoku, Hitotsu no Yatsu ni Tokiki. Nothing. Hey, Tadabayashi ka, Hilarin ka, Ichiachichu no Mokumoku, Hitotsu no Yatsu ni Tokiki.
You sound like you're selling something. Isan! Isan! これ安いんだよ安いもの
At this point, he starts getting really frustrated and depressed, and so it's like, get out of here! I'm not looking for kids, I'm looking for the person for this letter, you know? Oh man, I'm forgetting it again. Sun's getting down, I'm hungry. Where am I supposed to go with this? Hey! Tadabashi ka! Hirari ka! Ichiachichu no Mokumoku! Hitotsu no Yatsu ni Tokiki! Tadabayashi ka! Hirari ka! Ichiachichu no Mokumoku! Hitotsu no Yatsu ni Tokiki! Finally, the trusty old retiree, the hero of many Rakugo stories, comes out. It's like, what on earth is all this racket about? Hey, wait, I know you! You're the apprentice in the shop! What's going on? It's like, hey, you wouldn't be any of these people, would you? It's like, no. No, what's going on? Well, the boss gave me the letter and I can't read the name, so what's your name? Me? I'm Hirabayashi. Hirabayashi. Chotto no chigai da! O ato ga yoroshiii yo de. Yeah, and you'll note that a lot of Rakugo stories kind of have a bit of a Looney Tunes type of ending where it's like, you know what? You hit the punchline and then you just take it right to the close. Everybody just kind of goes running off to the sunset and you don't think about, okay, now how do they resolve this situation? Which frustrates some people, I will admit, but is a little bit of the art style there.
But yeah, like a bunch of these stories, like right at the end, I'm just going, oh!
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun like that. Like, let's see. Before you forget the color references as well.
Yes. We're planning on doing a lot of ancillary materials here as well, unlockables. So. Stretch goals might be achievements, things like that, but certainly doing things like, an unlockable glossary of different elements that get referenced along the way, so that, if you want to learn something in more detail, you can.
Done?
Yeah. Dekigokuro Futon becomes relevant to that. Yeah.
A lot of people who don't know, or a lot of Japanese won't know what art oiran is. Let's leave that for now. Ha.
Yeah.
People will find out.
There are certain parts of this. There are several stories that take place in what's known as the Pleasure District, and not all of them are naughty, so to speak. In fact, we're probably going to keep any explicit material out of here altogether. The fact is, certain themes do appear sometimes as setting elements and things like that. But yeah, for any artists in the chat here, Barrels in particular, if you're still here, you might be interested in this. To help with visualizing elements here in Japanese, we've included a traditional color reference here, which has 213 named traditional colors as used in traditional Japanese literature, storytelling, and general day-to-day life. And we've got them all here, broken into palettes by their traditional groupings, and with the hex codes, so it's very easy to pull them up. And
yeah, my wife saw this and she's like, oh my gosh!
Yeah. And we even have it so you can click on them and get more details here. Get the translated name, and I'm still fixing the furigana on this part, so I apologize for that. But ideally, we're trying to work in either some note explaining it or a verse that references it or something like that. That may be a bit of a stretch goal, and I'm fully filling that part out because, again, that's a lot of research there. But we do at least have translated names for all of the colors here.
Oh, and like some of the names in Japanese are really interesting as well. Like for example, there was one down the. There's a lot of tea. I noticed there are a lot of tea names and flower names.
Yeah, Aisumi-cha.
Like Momo-cha or something like that.
Yeah, cha is kind of used as a shorthand for brown, just like Nezumi gets used as a shorthand for grays in a lot of places here.
So instead of like saying brown, something brown, it's tea colored.
Exactly. In fact, chairo is used a lot, even in modern Japanese. Like someone's brown hair, it's chapatsu.
Yeah. Oh, Selfie mentioned, and she's working on a tabletop game for a roleplay that involves various types of Japanese sex workers at the end of the Edo period.
Interesting.
Oh, that.
Oh, okay. It looks like our ads just came up here. So.
Oh yeah. Well, completely random. But I was looking up the Meiji Japanese schoolgirls outfit. Where they wear the modern boots, but they wear hakama. So hakama with modern boots, like Western boots. And I just love that. I just love that. I just love that aesthetic. And the first time I saw it was in Ranma. I think just one of the pop-up images that was in between stories. Ranma was wearing that outfit, that Meiji schoolgirl's outfit. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder what that was. And I actually looked into it. One of the reasons for those old hakama and boots outfits not being falling out of popularity is they were expensive. Because seirafuku would be a lot less material, and so they're a lot cheaper to produce.
Yeah, there's also an element, of course, of the Meiji era saw a lot of awkward blending of East and West there, as Japan tried to prove it's a modern country, to the point where there was a bit of a pushback at one point, around about the 20s to the 40s, where it was like, you know what, we are Japan, we don't want to forget who we are, even while we're trying to build an empire. And you kind of, especially in post-World War II, kind of, in some ways, saw accelerating of both trends. Men stopped wearing hakama in day-to-day life, and it kind of became, a lot of the day-to-day stuff was, explicitly modern, while the traditional stuff was enforced to be more traditional, if that makes sense.
Oh, and going back to the hakama and boots schoolgirl outfits, one of the other reasons why it fell out of fashion is sex workers kept on dressing that way. And so and so it fell out of fashion because too many Japanese sex workers were dressing like schoolgirls. I think things haven't really changed, have they?
I guess not. We're going to leave that topic where it is for the time being.
Yep.
But going back for just a moment here, because Selfie and a couple others seem to have hit ads right as we were talking, I believe, about the color palette here and things like that. So we were just talking about how you see some patterns, like how Nezumi and Nezu is a shorthand for shades of gray, and how cha appears in a lot of brown shades and things like that, for example.
Shimbashi Iro just stands out with me. Like Shimbashi is like a new bridge. It's like is that the color that new bridges are?
No, that's a reference to Shimbashi is in the stop on the Yamanote line. You know, for those again, we're going to talk about old meme references here. Shimbashi. But yes. Basically. Yep. 名誉よ。だからのまま。次は新橋。But yes.
An old meme. So Shimbashi is a color that was popular with people who hung around Shimbashi.
Yes. Basically, it was kind of an entertainment district back in the end of the Meiji era and the Taisho era. A lot of geisha were it was popular. The color was popular with them apparently, according to the dictionary I was pulling this information from. Which, considering it was published by Kodansha, I'm going to take that as authoritative.
Wow. but that would be like calling a color New York. Like, what color is this? Oh, this is New York. New York pink or something like that. New York gray, but New York oak blue.
It's kind of like, if a certain color became, if someone's wearing that, they're from New York. It's a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those of us in the U.S. would say New York is pretty hard over blue, but that's a separate discussion I really don't want to open on this channel. So,
no, stay away from politics.
Yeah.
Stay away from politics.
Yeah. Moving along, we're not going to talk about the colors red or blue in the context of the United States on this channel, period. Please. I just beg of you. No.
Okay. Alright, so there are a lot of really interesting colors on here, and the descriptions of the colors are also so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while you get straightforward ones like, okay, kokushoku, black. Like, literally, just black color. And interestingly, darker than black is sumiiro, which is, ink. And then some of these also get used often to kind of be used to refer to, like, tinting things. Like, ai is kind of its base form is indigo. And so, like, Aisumicha is kind of a blend of three of those, indigo, ink, and brown all put together. And then some of these, like Futai, which is not what some of you are probably thinking here, are a reference to applying, like, two different dyes together to produce a similar type of shade.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Or there's one later on that's Ikonsome, which is one pressing of crimson dye there without trying to really get the color deep.
And dude, go back to that. Can be worn until age 40. It's like once you hit the age of 40, you're not allowed to wear that color anymore.
Well, yeah. Actually, that because I mean, most of us are probably familiar with the tradition. Like, young girls, wear brighter colors. And, once you get married, you wear a certain set of colors, and older women wear darker colors. And that was one of the notes, again, in the dictionary. And again, if Kodansha says it, I'm willing to take it as authoritative here. So it's kind of interesting to see those things. And part of it, again, part of the purpose for this, again, is to inform these kinds of things to people who are looking to get those kinds of elements of, like, authenticity in their artwork or things like that. We really want this to be a useful resource.
We're talking. They're talking about different colors of different states and stuff in chat. So is California orange because it's on fire, or is California brown because it's burnt and nutty almonds?
One of my earliest memories, I was born in Southern California, one of my earliest memories is standing in the backyard and seeing wildfire as far as you can see in either direction, about a quarter mile away.
That must be pretty scary.
All right, but that's the extent of what we have built out in our demo so far here. So Kenny, I am going to switch to your window now here so that you can show off a bit more of the artwork and things like that you've been doing.
Oh yeah, and we'll also be able have a look at how I've been doing the artwork.
Decaf,
So,
thank you for the raid. So,
Right there.
real quick here, Decaf NVIDIA is a friend of ours who actually has participated in some of our voice acting collabs in the past. The man is amazing with his voice.
Ah, that's cool. So welcome Raiders. We are just looking at some artwork for this upcoming Rakugo game. Oh, I've messed all those up really bad. So just turning on and off different layers right here. So as you can see, I'm on this program called Krita. It's a free program. So because I didn't want to pay for Photoshop, so I've done Hachi, and I've done eyes on a different layer, so I can swap out the eyes and have. Let's see, we can have these eyes, or we can have these eyes, or we can have the. Oh wait.
Looks like we have a couple other Krita users in the chat here.
Yep. And let's see, and then I can swap out the mouth, so I can have like that mouth. What else I can have? That mouth. That's the very. If you like 70s anime, like you'll see expressions like that. You can tell I'm old. Yeah. Let's see, or like swap it with this mouse. So we can go around and we can swap the different mouths and the different eyes in and out. And so on top of the basic combinations, we can get a bunch of different expressions.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Okay, so I think the original thing you gave me was just like a bunch of different expressions, but I thought, oh, if I put the eyes and the mouth on a different layer, then we can get just a lot more different things. And
absolutely, and it's part of the reason why even when I was doing the NPCs, I did the same thing. And it's one of those things where originally you categorize as, okay, well, this is the happy expression. Here are the eyes from it, and here's the mouth. But it's amazing how it can change when you swap out and mix and match between the eyes and the mouth there. So I've kind of taken to just using numbers for them, mouth 1, mouth 2, etc., rather than, or descriptive like, open mouth, closed mouth kind of thing. Because it really gets fishy trying to figure out what something really is if you just call it by an expression. Unless you're doing a pre-composed expression that you've got this paired with that explicitly.
Oh, yep. So what I did with the body was, as you can see, I've got the body on one layer, and then I've got the arms on a different layer. So this is for in future if I want him to do something different with his arms and do different poses. I don't have to I've got a base to work off, and then I'll just add his arms. So at the moment he's the Venus de Milo.
Yep. In some ways this kind of reminds me of old cell animation, in many ways actually. Exactly, like you got the transparency with the layer, the line art there, of course, so you're applying color behind it. But also with the way that you've got the base there, then you've got other interchangeable elements you layer with it to really change things out as you go along.
Yep, and as you can see here, I've got the NPC body, which I was using as a reference, just to make sure everything lines up. So I've made him a little bit shorter than the NPC body. And if I move these sketches around, let's see. You can see there's the Bowser, there's a little bit taller, and there's the wife. Those are the sketches.
Yeah.
Move notes. I can't remember what I've done now. Oh well. So let's see. So I've gone from the sketch, and then I've done. I've basically done the body without the without the face on it. But as you can see, like when I mirror it, you can see, oh yeah, like one side's lower than the other, so it's kind of skewed, and it's a little bit more obvious when I mirror it. So that's that one, and I basically fixed it up a little bit so that it's a little bit less skewed.
Well, and also with something to take into account when mirroring too is the way the clothing is folding in the front there, which of course is very significant in Japanese culture.
Oh yes, that's right. You don't have your clothes on this way, because that's when they put you in the coffin.
Yep.
That's the way to put it. So for people who want to draw like hakama, karate gi, and all that stuff, an easy thing to remember is just remember Y. If it's in a Y shape like this, then it's the right way around. If it's the other way, then yeah, that's the wrong way. It's always left over right. Yeah, this way. There we go. So that's Hachi, and over here there's.
I can see that, Greg. So I can see that.
There's the wifey. There we go. And she's got different expressions that I can turn on and turn off as well.
Yeah, and one of the big things we decided here as well, working with this to help and keep our flexibility to maximum, is while the body can pivot and do different poses if we wanted to, we wanted to make sure the nose remained in the same spot. So that, in the end, whatever they're doing, they're still facing the reader, and we can still use the same expressions for it.
Oh, although if you look at Hachigoro's expressions, his nose moves a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, it's one thing to have it move up a little bit because, like their nose is flaring out, for example, something like that. But.
Oh, yes. So, but yeah, for her, that's because Hachigoro's got a few more exaggerated expressions.
Mm-hmm.
But for most of the characters, yeah, we can basically leave the nose in the same place.
Actually, when I was putting together the references for this, that I used to export the images for the application, just for fun, I was put the wife's expressions on the kid. It actually worked out surprisingly well.
Okay.
It looked a little bit strange because, adult proportions versus child proportions, but it was really interesting to see, same face, different body kind of a thing there.
That sounds fun. So when you're putting like the wife's expressions on the kid, all you do is you just move it up and down.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Here's some random kids, and this one I'm not sure exactly how I want to do it. Whether I want to do like all these kids as just one, or do I want to separate them out into different characters, individual characters. Of course, in the long run, if I separate them out into individual characters, that will allow us to use them in different situations, so that we don't just have one Brat Kid, we've got 5 Brat Kid.
Yeah. Well, for Jigamu, I think that the group shot works pretty well because it allows me to put in one call for the group as opposed to managing another 4 or 5 models. And at the end of that one, I actually do go to just the Sadakichi model at the end there for just the one kid saying, "Hey, mister, it's summer vacation already." But yeah.
Yep. And let's see. And here's the Oji-san, which I'm still working on. So what I'd be doing is from here, zoom in a little bit, and then start drawing. And interestingly, characters with beards. That's another tricky bit. Oh, do I do the beard as part of the face, or do I do the beard as part of
That is a very good question there, actually.
Yep. And in this
kind of like
character,
Joe Taro's hat. You know, where does the hat end and the hair begin?
yeah, that's right. Where does the hat start and where does the where does the head start? Where does the hat start?
And
So here, I might go her. And just slowly piece it together.
I mean, in some ways, if I had to speculate on a way to do it, I might make the long part of the beard itself its own layer, so that if you wanted to have it, you know, blowing or waving, you could do that. And have kind of the bit from the top of the chin up through the nose there being its own thing, and treat that all as one with the mustache and beard included in it. Mm-hmm. In this case, you know, Hachigoto is a different matter. The way you're doing that one is good. But yeah, and Crick is saying the designs are looking really good. We really appreciate that. I'm pretty excited by the work Kenny's done so far too.
Yeah, this is so this is basically what I've been doing, and just slowly put these together. Let's see. Anything else we want to look at today?
That's the extent of what I have in mind for the demo here. We do have a Discord server that we previously used for doing some of the voice acting collabs. It's going to be repurposed for promoting this project here. So if you would like to join that Discord server, I just dropped the link into the chat. Among other things, it's going to be where fans of the project can get updates on things. It's also going to be the first place we look for volunteers if we need extra help with doing various parts of production, if we're looking for art assistants, if we're looking for voice actors or things like that. So if you're interested in any of the above, feel free to drop in and let us know there. Yes, Kenny?
And Kaji, just to interrupt you.
Sure.
Look at what I'm doing right here. This is one of the big annoying things that you'll see many artists do. Yeah, I want to get this curve here. Like, oh no, do it again. Oh no. You know what? Maybe. And you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm like turning my tablet sideways. I'm like, oh, come on, give me, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good enough. There we go.
Yeah, I've seen that on a lot of art streams I watch. I've seen some artists that even avoid that altogether and just they don't even really draw lines, or I guess their lines are automatically converted to line tool lines, and then they'll just play with the points on the vector instead of actually redrawing it.
There you go. So yes. That's but yeah, sorry I interrupt after you, so like
decaf here. Drawing Kirby is easy. First you draw a perfect circle. That's where you just take the old nail and string trick, right? You know, you put the nail down in the center and where you want the circle, and then string, pencil, and
I can't put the nail down on my iTablet though. Like...
Good point. You put an index card in between there. Yeah. Or as Selfie is saying, just hammer it in. That way you have it every time you need it. Okay. Oh, enjoy, Crix, enjoy. So that about covers what we were going to be doing for our demo today. Oh, that's looking good. We do have a little bit more planned here. Our friends in Australia here, the Ugly Retro Girls, also known as Selfie, about sometime over the summer, actually it goes back a little before that. Okay. post re-release Waffle Crisp cereal in the U.S. And Selfie came up to me on DM and she's like, "Hey, this is back out. You need to send me a docs." It's like, okay, you want anything else? It's like, well, you figure it out. Pepperidge Farm is good. It's like, okay. So, what was supposed to be 1 box of cereal turned into 6 boxes of cereal because I wanted to make it worth the shipping cost. And then we filled up with one of everything from the Pepperidge Farm aisle over in Giant, and threw in a bit of Halloween type candy as well, just to give them kind of the full American experience there. So, I have a box behind me here that is our friend Selfie returning the favor. We're going to be bringing her on to join Kenny and I in just a moment. And we're going to be seeing what we got back. We have no idea what is in this box other than we've been promised 1 jar of Vegemite. Speaking of which, I probably ought to get some toast or something ready, I imagine.
Oh, yes. Oh, you gonna put the video on for this, or?
Yes, we will have a video for that, and we're going to be bringing Selfie on live camera as well. So, let's see here.
All right, I'll leave you to that.
Okay, and you going to stay and join in and kibbutz on that one, Kenny?
Oh no! As in, like I'll leave you to put the video on. I'm staying for sure. I want to see what you guys are do with this. But yeah, like I just talking off. All right, so my screen share. I'll finish up my screen share right now.
Okay, so we'll turn the screen share off. Thank you again for sharing with us, Kenny. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh yes, yeah. I like drawing different expressions on characters as well. So yeah, that's it's good. It's good for me to practice all sorts of different expressions. And I was like, oh yeah, I got more variety on the things that I can show off now.
Yeah. All right. So, and I'm going to probably go ahead and stop and restart the stream real quick here just to make it easy later on to tell what's demo video versus what's food video here. So, give me one moment to update the stream details here.
And I'll just stay in Discord?
Yeah, I'm going to start a new call so we can bring Selfie in. But yeah, you can stay on Discord for the moment.
Alright, so be back in a bit.
Oh, hey! Nice. We got both the ugly retro girls here. If you'd both like to join in the call, you're welcome to. I'm about to flip the stream here for just a moment. So you might need to reload the page, but get it now.